All right, everybody. Welcome to the Aesthetic AF podcast. As always, I'm here as your host, Sam Varner, and Tara is not here today, but I will take the reins as best as I can. I am really lucky today to have Todd Stanley joining me. We are going to talk all things real estate when it comes to being a MedSpa owner. So Todd, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. A pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to our conversation.
Yes, me too. And I think the audience is going to enjoy it because I think there are always a lot of questions about choosing the right location and putting yourself in the right spot. And how do I even do that? So I'm excited to chat about your insight in that market. Tell us first give us a little bit of background of you in real estate, or just you as Todd. Give us a little detail.
I'll give you a little bit of both. Yeah, my professional career goes back, I did 20 years in outpatient surgery sales. So working in the outpatient surgery world prepared me for what I do now, dealing with doctors on a daily basis. And it's been a cool transition out of COVID into this space. I left outpatient surgery in 2020 and moved into commercial real estate with a healthcare-centric spin to it. And so I'm basically representing doctors of all kinds and been lucky enough to get into the med spa space as well. So from orthopedic surgeons and plastic surgeons to dentists and orthodontists and veterinarians, it's been a great ride the last 4 years. I'm currently the senior vice president at the practice companies, where we have two niches. One is in the commercial real estate space, Practice Real Estate Group, and then the other is Practice Transitions, where we help broker the sale of med spas, physician practices, veterinary clinics, things like that.
Yeah, and I am excited to have that conversation, that side of the kind of coin of you guys at a later date. That's definitely on our list.
That's a lead into another podcast, and I'll step away from that one. I'll let Thomas Allen, our chief, take care of that one.
Yeah, and I think both of those pieces are so critical, right? When we talk about, as a business coach and a consultant on the sales side of things, it is so critical to have the right space, to have really thought through what you're trying to create and where your market is and all of those things in order to be successful. And at the end of the day, most of us are creating these businesses so that they can provide wealth for our family. That's the end goal. And doing that well means starting with a location where people are going to come. So how do you help clients if they're at the very beginning of this journey? They're at the point where they're like, no, I'm going to open my own shop. So maybe they've been operating in somebody else's shop right now, but they're ready to do it themselves. How do you help?
Yeah, that's a great question. Essentially, I get a phone call, right? Typically it's out of the blue, or a lot of times I will get a banker that will call me and say, hey, look, I've got a client that's interested in opening up a med spa, and we're working on financing now. Would you please help them? And so then I take the reins. I have a pretty detailed list of folks that I like to work with. Everybody has their referral patterns, right?
Yeah.
So I have bankers, general contractors, media folks, people that design websites, full IT support, all these things that are really important to have as referral source bases. And so I'll get the phone call and I'll say, okay, here's what we're going to do. I have a roadmap for you already printed out, ready to go. It's a checklist that I've put together. And we're just going to start going down the list. First thing is, what's the saying in real estate? Location, location. Yeah. We're going to find you the best location, and here's how we're going to do it. We have a proprietary demographics and competition report that we're able to produce. So let's say that you being in the Houston area, you want to be in a specific part of Houston, right? So we will find that area, we'll draw a big circle around it, and then we'll put in our data that we want to try to sort out, and we'll be able to pinpoint 3-mile radii.
Yeah.
And then from those reports, we can really dig in. Each one of those 3-mile radii will show us the demographics within that 3-mile circle. It'll show us the median household income. It will show us education, all these things that are super important specifically for a med spa. Right? We want to make sure that we have clients that will pay for our services.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
That's the first step, is to really get in there and define exactly where we're going to look. From there, we can take a look at the competition. We go through one by one and verify each one of the med spas in that 3-mile circle.
Yeah.
Okay? And then from there, we can come up with a competition ratio. The number of potential patients versus the med spas within that 3-mile circle. And from there, we can make some really good decisions about where in that 3-mile circle, if that's the one that we've decided on, because it has excellent population, the median household income is high, all people can pay for our services, then we can go in and really dig in to find the specific location that you need to be in. We don't want to just say willy-nilly, let's just go to Katy, Texas.
Yeah.
We'll go anywhere there. No, we're trying to run a business here, so we need to make sure exactly where we're going to go.
Yeah. How do you counsel people if they're concerned about the amount of competition? I know when I drive, especially in more populated area, if we go into Houston or in the Heights or somewhere in that area, there are a lot of med spas, right? This is a growing, booming industry, and there are a lot of people out there running these businesses. So as the business owner, as the med spa, how scared should we be of competition out there? Or what's your counsel where it's, oh no, it's an oversaturated market? I'm sure you hear that all day. So
We do.
What's your response to that?
Yeah, and I can work anywhere in the country, but the majority of the business that I run and do is in Texas.
Yeah.
And the majority of that business is here in Austin, Texas. We have a particular part of Austin, Westlake, and just west of downtown, that has a road. It's maybe a 10-mile road, Bee Cave. And on just that one 10-mile area, we have 13 med spas already just on that road. And so It really has turned into Med Spa Row, and people in that area, very affluent and want to get work done. And to answer your question, my advice would be to not go right in the middle of that. Unless you just feel like you're providing a service that nobody else is. Let's not replicate something that somebody has already done where there's 10 other businesses right there. Let's go to the outer edge to where we have very affluent people as well, but it's not just right on that one road. That's my advice. And that's why we have those competition reports to identify where that business is so we can steer away from it. There's certain ratios in med spa that you don't want to be right on top of someone.
Yeah. You don't want somebody to accidentally walk in the wrong door. Oops.
Yeah, and it's funny, some of these med spas, they haven't been very creative in their naming, or the name of their company, right? It's ABC Med Spa and XYZ Med Spa. So it seems like there's a lot of replication of the names, and I think it really does matter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've talked about that on some of your other podcasts, but just the naming of your med spa is so important to creating brand loyalty. And we talked a little bit earlier about the idea of franchising. What's Bee Cave Med Spa is not going to be able to be franchised, right?
No.
You want something that can go nationwide.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those unique value propositions, be it on the naming of the business or what you're known for, right? Your expertise does allow you to stand out, as well as your location. Okay, so when a business owner is chatting with you and they're trying to figure out, okay, I want to be in this new location. I want it to be super beautiful. I'm not buying the building yet. I'm not at that level. I actually need to be leasing. How do you help with the negotiation? Because I think in my experience, I've been on the other side of that multiple times with business owners that have put themselves in situations without somebody's help like yourself and ends up in a bit of a pickle when it comes to the negotiation of the lease. So what kind of things do you know you just need to watch for?
Yeah, so this is a tough one because I understand that there are practitioners out there that they just want to do everything themselves.
Yeah.
If they're not doing it themselves, then it's not getting done right, et cetera, et cetera. We all know those people, right?
Yep.
Don't fall into that trap is my advice.
Yeah.
Let people that do this all day, every day, do this work. Yeah. I'm not going to go tell a plastic surgeon how to do a tummy tuck.
No, I will do a terrible job. You do not want me doing that.
No. So the plastic surgeon comes to me. In fact, I just did a deal with a plastic surgeon. And so the way that works is we'll sit down. We've done all of our competition and demographic reporting. We've found a certain part of that 3-mile circle that we really like.
Yeah.
And I will dig into that area. We'll find maybe 10 different locations that are for lease.
Yeah.
We're not buying anything right now. So we're going to go in for lease and we'll narrow it down based off of the 10 that I've picked out. We'll find 4 or 5 and we'll go tour them. And we'll do a property tour and we'll run around town for a couple hours, take a look at all of them. And from there, we'll make a decision on 1 or 2. Yeah. So I really like these 2, but it's important I think, it's also important to submit letters of intent to more than just one property. It's my opinion that if you do an LOI for 2 properties, you're going to see very quickly which landlord is willing to work with you. Yeah. And which one wants you in their building or their retail shopping center. Yeah. And the way we know that is how amiable they are to negotiating. If they are hardline, this is the price, this is how much I'll give you in tenant improvement allowance, etc., that's not the person that I want to work with. I want to work with someone that's, you know what, I would love a MedSpa. It's going to increase my foot traffic in this area. Physicians are very low risk when it comes to leases. That's why the banks are able to loan money at a lower rate to physicians. And as such, we're going to get a better deal.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, as the realtor in that position, you're doing exactly that negotiating, that selling, but knowing how to speak the language of this is why my client is an excellent fit for your location. We're not always going to think about that as the business owner. We're not always going to be able to argue on our behalf about what value we bring to the negotiation. I feel like oftentimes people are like, I just want them to pick me. I just want to be chosen, as opposed to I'm a damn good deal and it's to your benefit to have me in there.
And I think that for the most part, med spas don't have to be a 4,000 square foot palace. Yeah. They don't have to be. Certainly there are lots of them in town. I can think of one that is usually 8,000 and they have multiple locations and Italian marble, the whole thing, right? Yeah. We don't have to do that. One thing that I did want to bring up, and you mentioned it, and it's one of those things, Sam, so in commercial real estate, we are not realtors. Realtor is a term used specifically for folks that have undergone a certification in residential, that they are realtors. And so I do get called a realtor all the time, and realtors are amazing. They're amazing. They're really good at residential. So
what do we call you then? What's your technical title, please, Todd?
Yeah, great. I'm your commercial real estate agent.
Real estate agent. Okay, yes. Commercial real estate agent. Yeah. I didn't know that was the differentiation. I knew realtor was a specific category, but I didn't realize it was specific to for residential.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's,
Okay.
it's not just you. Just one of those things.
No, that's really good to know. That I appreciate that. I will not forget.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're starting negotiations with landlords. We are having that back and forth. Where do you find people get cold feet? Where do you find you're having to really help your clients in that process? Is it, I'm going to just let you run with that.
Yeah. So as long as you are prepared for, and this is my job, prior to even going into the negotiation or sending in a letter of intent, it's my job to prepare you for the dollars and cents, right? So you
Yes.
don't have the sticker shock that can come with this kind of thing. So let's run through real quick what's in a letter of intent. It's
Yeah.
basically what we are agreeing to then go to lease negotiations. So a letter of intent is non-binding. We're sending this in. Hey, landlord, here's what we're willing to do on your space. We're willing to pay this. We're willing to do these annual escalations. So an annual escalation is, let's go back. So pay this price. Let's say it's $30 a square foot, okay? You'll also most likely be paying what's called a triple net. That is taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance, or CAM. Triple net can also be described as operating expenses.
Okay.
And this is the pro rata share of the building, the total building, that you are occupying. And so you are paying the landlord, it's a pass-through expense, the property taxes for that building, for your space, the insurance for your space, and, the insurance for the total building, but your pro rata share, and the common area maintenance. So what it costs the landlord to make sure the landscaping is beautiful, to make sure that the parking lot is striped correctly, those things.
Okay.
So you're going to also have to pay that. And that number will fluctuate a little bit here and there, mostly because of property taxes, especially in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Our municipalities want theirs. And so when you see a bump up in property taxes, you will see an annual bump up in that triple net. So it might be $10 this time around a square foot, but next year there might be an increase in property taxes. Maybe the CAM goes up a hair, maybe insurance goes up a hair. Those typically don't fluctuate that much, but you will see an annual escalation there. In addition, you will see an annual escalation on the base rent. So we might be paying 30 and 10,
Yeah.
but that 30 is also going to go up. Most landlords in this market, Central Texas, 3% annual escalation is standard.
Okay.
So that's an escalation every year. And it's essentially there to help the landlord keep up with inflation. And in a busy market like Austin that's continuing to grow, the prices on real estate will continue to go up. And so the landlord is still trying to keep up with that. Okay, that was a long-winded answer about what it costs. The other negotiating point that we'll get into with the landlord is tenant improvement allowance, or TI. And so your tenant improvement allowance, the rule of thumb that I use, and this is typically for a 10-year lease.
Okay.
So you can cut it back exponentially as you do a shorter term lease, let's say 5 years. Just basically cut what I'm about to say in half. The landlord is trying to do a TI that is associated with your base rent. 10. Okay. Let's say it's $30 for that base rent. The landlord would like to do a TI allowance for 30, and this is on a shell space.
Okay.
So a shell space is a space that concrete floor slab, water utility cutouts in the back, exposed ceiling. You may have one wall, maybe have a demising wall as well. Yeah, so because of that, the TI is really important to negotiate because the landlord is really wanting you to only do 1 year of base rents to then push into your lease.
Okay.
$30 base rent, $30 in TI for the landlord. My job on a shell space is on a 10-year shell space is to get it to 60. So double, right? And so what does TI pay for? That's also important. It's not going to pay for your lasers. It's not going to pay for your supplies. TI is only used to then create a better space for the landlord. So it goes to walls, flooring, paint. It can go to cabinetry, millwork, as long as the millwork is not client specific. So a dental space, that millwork would be client specific. It could, depending on what it looks like and how you have it with the lease, it could be used to pay for that, but that's a whole nother story.
Okay. So you're really looking for as much allowance from the landlord themselves for that space improvement so that you're not footing that entire bill.
And so from a full build out, a med spa, I'm not kidding when I say this, you're looking at least $175, $200 a square foot to build out from a shell.
Yeah.
So that's $60, which goes to your HVAC unit, amazing lighting, because you want to have great lighting in med spas, right? You want to have that natural light. We have windows, but you also want to have amazing light in your exam rooms, in your injecting rooms, right?
Yeah.
So $60 will really help on that $200.
Yeah. So do you find that those negotiations, should people be assuming they're going to have to get this far with multiple locations? And I know this obviously dependent on what the market condition is at the time, but how should people be like the first two that we actually go and we put in our letters of intent? Do they usually end up with one of those two locations, or is this a process that takes a little bit longer and we should be a patient group of people? What do you think?
Well, that patience in this industry is a virtue. Typically, the LOI process, we'll know pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't waste a ton of time in this regard, or in this part of the process. Where things start to get a little lengthy and drawn out and toe tapping and hand wringing, that is when the attorneys get involved.
Right.
And so that's when lease negotiations start. So again, I talked about an LOI being non-binding.
Yes.
Just because you sign an LOI doesn't mean you're beholden to anything on that piece of paper.
And arguably neither's the landlord.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Which is why, that's a great point, Sam. Which is why when you're going down this path, you want to be on top of it. If you don't respond to my emails for a week at a time, the landlord starts going, are we doing this or not?
Yeah.
I have this other group that's wanting to jump in here. Y'all were first. Your deal's a little better, but it's not so much better that I can just sit around and wait and not collect rent on this space. So yes, we want to be on top of it. We want to be exchanging. That's where communication is so important. I know that's important for all industries, but this is really important to have great communication with your commercial real estate agent. And I will tell you right now, and I will get on this pedestal and I will scream from the highest mountaintop. If your commercial real estate agent does not answer their phone when you call them, go find somebody that thinks you're more important.
Yeah.
Right? I will tell you, the number of robocalls that I answer, because I always answer my phone, is off the charts. With that said, you never know. And in this industry, I feel it's so important, and that there are certain agents out there that do not answer their phone. They do not respond promptly to emails or texts, and things fall through the cracks because of that. And this is something, get somebody else that will, is what I'm saying to all those folks that are listening out there. If your commercial real estate agent is not on it and does not value you as a client enough to pick up the darn phone, let's go. Move on.
Yep. And I'm going to say this on Todd's behalf, because this is also important. As the client, for the love, also pick up the phone when your commercial real estate agent calls because he probably has something he needs to talk about in a reasonably timely fashion.
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways. And of course, you're not going to say that because you're trying to be the good guy. That's fine. I'll say it for you. Too many times business owners
Mine is always correct though, right?
Yeah, too many times business owners, and all of us can get like this, right? Doesn't matter the industry. We're busy, lots of stuff going on. But when you're in the process of making changes or you're in the process of trying to find a new location, time is of the essence. And so you also have to be prompt with your information, with your due diligence, with your pieces of the puzzle that need to be done. So that's something to think about too is, am I ready to make this move? And do I have capacity? Have I set myself up as a business owner to have some kind of space to be able to do what needs to be done for this next step? You can't be 24/7 in your business as the CEO. You need to be able to hop out and go look at locations or get into lease negotiations or whatever ends up being the case, right? So that's critical too. I think sometimes we forget that, right? Where it's, I'm really busy and I need to be busy. Yeah, but also you're going to be homeless. So don't let that happen. Okay. So let's talk a little bit before we wrap up about the differences between that person going for their first bricks and mortar space of their own, they're leasing for the first time. So we've touched on some of the pieces they need to know about. What about the people that are now looking for expansion? How can you help them in the process of, one's been great, I think I can do many, where do I go next? What's different about that piece?
Yeah, I think you're talking about scaling into multiple locations.
Yeah.
We approach it the exact same way. We will get with an owner and sit down with them and say, okay, where do you think that you want to go? Where is too far for you as an owner, a business owner, to then jump around all over the city? So we would approach it the exact same way. Okay, we want to be, let's say you're in Houston. We have our main one in Katy. We also want to be in Sugar Land. We also want to be in Spring, all those different places, right? And so we would just go into each individual one. We would run our competition and demographic report and start digging in. And I think you would approach it the exact same way as you were doing your first location.
Right.
You need to be a little bit more mindful though, because as you get around to different parts of the city, it's going to change. Not only do the buildings look a little different, right?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them are a lot nicer, or maybe they're not quite as nice. So you need to be prepared for that price going up to move into a very nice area. Let's move into River Oaks, right?
Yeah, it's going to change things.
Or if you're going to move into another part of the city that's not quite as nice, that's going to bring down your overall monthly payments, right?
Yeah.
For commercial real estate. But are you going to have the same clientele that you did in your previous location? Maybe not, because you're in a different part of and so we really need to make sure that we are doing our part to provide those reports for you. They're so integral into what we do on a daily basis and how it affects our clients' business. And just very fortunate to have that proprietary information here at the Practice Real Estate Group.
Yeah, I love that. And I think as people are listening and thinking about growing, right? So no matter what stage they're at, what I keep coming back to in this is how critical you need of a team. You need to have experts around you that do these things day in, day out. And the benefit, I think, Todd, that you're coming with is you're coming with your expertise in the real estate market, all of that, but also when you referred to all of the other people that you are in contact with that MedSpa owners need to know as well. I think those of us that have really niched into this particular area then are connected with others who have niched into this particular area and create a really good expertise level to be like, yeah, I have somebody that I know does that. Yes, I have somebody that I work with, or it's somebody that I know that's worked with 8 of my clients. They're going to be perfect to help you with that next piece of the puzzle.
I refer business to the people that I know and trust are going to do a great job and take care of my client and pick up the phone when they call them.
See? Exactly. We're all about the phone, people. It's so true because I put my name on the line if I'm referring to you, Todd. If I send a client to you and say, you know what, I trust Todd, he's going to do a great job for you. That's me putting my name behind there. And I want that to carry weight. I want that to be legit. And I want it to be something where it's like, Sam's a great connector. She's going to get you in touch with whoever you need. And whoever she sends you to is always awesome. That's the goal. And I think most of us in this industry, that is exactly what we're trying to do, is create something where I have a network you can use and I want you to be part of it and take advantage. So I'm glad you and I are on the same page with that. And I think it's so critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we bop around our lives and work, and what do we have at the end of the day? We have our name and how we do business. And the type of person you are. Do you trust, or do you respect the person that you're working with? It's so important. There are some really, really amazing people out there that do what we do.
Yep.
There's also some people that just aren't great.
Yeah. Yeah. It runs the gamut. So do your shopping before you start shopping.
Yeah, I'm being honest AF, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm all about the AF. Okay, is there anything that you absolutely wanted people to walk away from today that we haven't chatted about? Anything that you think is that we missed?
I think one thing is really defining the type of building that you want to be in and the type of setting that you're trying to portray to your clients. So there's a couple different ways that you can go about this. One is, this has been a proliferation over the last decade or so, is med spas in retail spaces. The strip mall. That way of doing business can be amazing because you have all these other businesses that have foot traffic that walk by and, oh my gosh, there's a med spa here. Oh, let me look in the window. It's amazing. It's beautiful in there. I need to go get something done. That's wonderful for a lot of different reasons. The other is the straight medical, right? So maybe you go into a medical office building, right? Near a hospital, let's say. And you have other medical clients in that space, in that building. You have ENTs and urologists and whatever. But you can go in there and be a medical provider, right?
Yes.
And so that's a whole different dynamic. Many times it's a little less expensive than retail, but you're not going to have that foot traffic.
Yeah.
On the flip side, how many people out there right now will find a space based off of walking by or driving by? Not very many. It's typically
it's going to be more if you're driving to and from every single day. On repeat their sign, but arguably, if you've got your sign up out front of the medical building, which you will as well, then you're getting that same level of exposure potentially.
I would just say that the way people find things in this day and age, Google.
Yep.
Med spa near me.
Yeah.
Injector near me. Yeah. So that's the counter argument to having retail, is to going into a medical office building. The other way is straight office. Now you would have to get permission from that landlord to go in there. Typically not a use that they see. With the way that the commercial real estate market is today, many landlords are starting to become more apt to letting that use in.
Yeah.
The things that you have to watch out for are how many sinks are in that office space. Typically, medical requires a lot more water in and around the space.
Yeah.
Moving water can be expensive. And many times in straight office buildings, all carpeted. In our med spas, we don't want any carpet. Right? That can get icky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say retail, medical, office building. Those are typically the places that you'll see a med spa.
Okay. That's good to think about because I don't know that everybody's going to think about all of those options. And you're right, with some of the changes that we've seen, like post-COVID with commercial real estate, there are a lot more offices that are open and vacant. So negotiations to be had would be my assumption there.
Perfect assumption.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. I think that's all I had for you today, Todd, but this has been so good. I think as people are investigating their next step, right? Like what am I doing next? What's my next growth plan? Keeping in mind all of these things. Well, the only thing I was going to ask you that I forgot about is, and might be a hard question to answer, but if I'm thinking about moving to a new space, how much time should I be allocating from idea to move in? And I know it depends on the build out and all of those things, but can I do it in 60 days or do I really need to have a longer time frame than that?
Oh man, 60 days would be like a sprint.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, okay. So you're talking about moving. So
Yeah.
we
We haven't done anything. I'm just thinking about it and now I want it done by August 1st.
Got it. When you say moving, you mean starting, not
Yeah.
physically moving from one office to the next, right?
Yeah.
So many times leases will say that you have 180 days to notify your landlord before whether or not you're going to renew your lease
Right.
or if you're out.
Yeah.
So to get started, it depends on if you're looking for a second gen space, a space that's already been built out, whether
Yeah.
that's retail or office or medical office, or if you're going straight shell space. If
Yeah.
you're doing shell, wow, it takes 6 to 8 months to build out a shell. And it typically takes, if you're really fast, 3 months to go through finding a space, doing the LOI, lease negotiations. 3 months is pretty quick.
Yeah.
So it's typically 4. So now we're 4 plus 6. We're at 10 months,
Yeah.
maybe a year. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. That was my assumption. And what I wanted to make sure is that anybody listening and thinks, okay, I am ready, slow your roll a little bit. This isn't an instant gratification game. This is a little bit of a time that to do it right, to do it properly, to go through all the steps and actually do the investigation, you do need time. So I wanted to just make sure we had that out there. And obviously it can go a little bit quicker if you're stepping into a med spa that's vacated, then obviously things are different. But
that changes the dynamic considerably. I got so excited.
You're like, those are my favorite. Let's go.
Yeah, those are my favorite. They're harder to find.
Yeah.
The idea of finding a second gen med spa that's ready to go that you just move into, needle in a haystack, legitimately. I might find 1 or 2 of those maybe a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you would be moving from one space or starting a practice and moving into a new one. You can do that, especially in the smaller buildings that have already been done medical. You can do that. And it will take 3 months, maybe 4, just to go through the LOI and all that. But if you're doing not ground up construction, if you're doing a shell build out, plan a year.
Yeah.
And that way you have plenty of time to get all your ducks in a row so that when you're opening day 1, you have everything done. You're not trying to open and you still have some things left out there. I think the last thing that I will say is that I was counting up before we got on here the number of med spas that I've done and plastic surgeons that I've dealt with that are also operating med spa type situation. 6 in the last year and a half or so, 2 years. And so obviously med spa is not my only thing that I do, but I think that to your point, it's definitely a proliferation of this space, and the fact that the VC money is in this space and going crazy and buying up med spas and branding them all the same. This is something that if you want to get in, now is the time to get in.
Yeah.
Don't sit on the sidelines and think that you're just going to make this happen 2-3 years from now. because the competition is out there, and just reach out, and I think that we can get something done.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think this is an industry that's booming. It's a space that's booming, and if you're on the fence and you're thinking about it, having some conversations with wherever you want to start, but whether it's with somebody like me that's going to help you on the business planning side and the structure and the profitability side, or somebody like Todd who can give you an idea of, okay, here's what it looks like in your current area. Let's talk the talk and have those conversations. Yeah. I appreciate it, Todd. This has been super, super valuable for anybody listening to this that's contemplating their next real estate move. I think it's worth having this conversation with Todd. He can give you just so much insight as to what to do next.
Listen, I really appreciate you having me on, and this has been fun, and I look forward to talking to all of those people out there that are looking to jump on the train and go down the path.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Okay, guys, until next week, this is Aesthetic AF, and I'm Sam Varner, but keep on keeping on, and we'll talk to you next week.